to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. Today, we're getting into a conversation that's been kind of stirring up debates across the country: the marriage material shortage in America. More and more women, especially successful Black women, are struggling to find suitable marriages and partners. But why? Is it about financial instability, changing gender roles, the dating pool shrinking, or is it simply a shift in how we view relationships today? So, we're going to break it down with an incredible panel, my beautiful royal panel, and we're going to talk about whether it's really going on when the marriage and even marriage is marriage even still a goal. So, you have a panel here of people who are married and who are also single. So we feel like we've got a really good balance to talk about this, but we're going to play a game. So here's the game. If you are joining us and you are in our family and your comments, what I want you to do is to write down 3 traits of your current husband or wife that makes you realize they were the best marriage material. Now, listen, I didn't leave you single folk out. Okay. That was for the married folk. The single people, I need you to write down 3 traits that makes a man or a woman marriage material. Okay. So got your assignment. 3 traits, if you're married, that your current husband or wife that has made you realize that they were marriage material. And for the singles, write down 3 traits that make a man or woman marriage material. But now let me introduce my awesome panel. We have Tiara Williams, producer and actress, Dr. LaNee, Brand Your Brilliance coach, and Joe Corley, licensed therapist and mental wellness coach, and Constance Carter, wealth activists. So as you can see, we have an absolutely gorgeous panel here, and we are going to get into it because you know what? Let's face it. Everybody wants to be loved. Everybody wants to be, and for the most part, I don't know too many people that don't want a relationship in their life. It's just a human aspect of us, right? It's very rare that you don't want the human connection in some sort of way, especially on the love. So let's open up with a good video where there is great commentary. I think this video is great on what you should look for in a partner. Now he's talking about a woman. So let's check this out.
Beautiful women are everywhere, but you have to make sure that you're choosing with more than just your eyes. I want you to think about your last 2 to 3 relationships and why they ended. And I want you to write those things down. And I want you to think about what you need from a woman. When a woman enters your life, if you need a woman that's patient, write it down. If you need a woman that's loyal, write it down. If you need a woman that's committed, write it down. You have to date the woman that you need and not just the woman that you want. It's the same thing when you're purchasing a vehicle. You can't just purchase a vehicle because it looks good. The most important thing to the vehicle is the engine and the transmission. The engine and the transmission has to work to take you to your destination. When you're in a relationship and you want to have longevity and you plan on going somewhere, you have to focus on the mind and the heart. That's like the engine and the transmission. Looks are a bonus, but if you truly want to be happy, you have to understand that that shouldn't be your number one focus. Choose the woman that you need and not just the woman that you want. I send this message with love.
I absolutely love how he ends that. He sends that message with love. But he did bring up some really good points to think about, because when you are dating with a purpose, then things change. Right now, if you're out there just playing around, you're not interested in being married right now, these rules may not necessarily apply to you. But when you're looking for a life partner, the standards change. So, Constance, I'd like to know, because they're saying there is a shortage. Do you think the problem is with men, women, or the way society has changed?
I would say society. I think it's what's acceptable in society of how people approach the idea of relationships. You know, it's what we're taught, and it's all the lies that we've been sold and told about, you know, what women want, what men want. And I think people are not going to the core of things. You know, the man said, don't, you know, if you really want to be happy, don't worry about looks. I don't see how I could be with anybody who's ugly. But, you know, to each his own. But I do believe it's a societal, you know, I'm just kidding. But I do believe it's a societal thing. We do need to do better and just look at people at their core and their heart.
I agree, and I didn't do a lot of dating before my husband and I were in a dedicated relationship, but I did have two or three relationships. I got teased all the time because they was like, "Why are you always picking ugly men?" Because I never cared about what they really looked like. A lot, I didn't. I really was trying to pay attention to how they were treating me because my first main relationship was so heartbreaking because he cheated on me and had babies with other women that I didn't want to look at if he was cute or not. I wanted to look at his heart. And so I got teased all the time. Where are you dating him? Well, he may not be for you. He may be for me. You know what I mean? Like I didn't have a lot of relationships, but I didn't care about the looks. So Joe, I'm going to ask you from a man's perspective because I know women can answer this fairly easy, but I would like to hear from a man's perspective. Do you think that women are saying that they are settling because they have unrealistic expectations for a potential partner? Or are they just refusing to settle? Or they want something unrealistic?
I think that when you are looking at it from a public perspective, yeah, a lot of women are saying, "Oh, we're not going to settle. We're not." But if you're talking to these women in private, or like I am in the therapy spaces, they just want somebody who loves them. You know what I mean, and who's willing to not make them feel a certain way or make them feel bad about themselves. It's really not all about, you know, all those. I mean, there's some women who still desire, you know, certain financial status and things like that, but like I said, for the women that I talk to, for the most part, they just don't want to feel bad. You know, they just want to feel loved. I mean, I say this all the time. We all come into the world with one thing. It doesn't matter what happens to us along the way, but we all come into this world wanting to be loved. That's the only thing that we're all have in common when we're born. We're looking for affection. We're looking for intimacy, and you know how we get those things develops over time through lived experience. But for the most part, you don't want to feel bad.
I agree with that. But now I'm going to also toss that same question to a lady on our panel. Okay. So, Dr. LaNee, I'm asking you the same question that I asked Joe. You know, do you feel that women are setting unrealistic expectations for potential partners, or are they just refusing to settle?
I think it's a little bit of both. And men are not stepping up to the plate the same way that they used to. So I think it's all of the above. I don't think it's either side's fault. I do think that women have gotten to a place in life and business and career where relationship has been put on the back burner for so long that now that they're ready, they're finding out that there's no men available for marriage. I think that that's one of them. I think that the other one is that the quality of the men at a certain age declines, and then I think that you're dealing with emotional intelligence as well. If you're dating a man over 40, 45, he who has previously been married, he don't want to be married again. So that takes, you know what I'm saying? So there's a couple of different things, but then there, to your point, not to just not make sure I'm not male bashing or anything like that. Women do feel like they don't have to settle. Lord forgive me for bringing Kevin Samuel's name up, but he gave men false belief of how things are supposed to be, right? With what was it, the high value man conversation. And then you have these women who are walking around as feeling like they're high value women. I'm using allegedly. These are going for allegedly, right? Not gang signs here, allegedly. Um, and so you have these two sides where we're almost opposing. The women are walking around, I make the money, I do this, and men are walking around, I do that too. So who leads? So I think that there's just, we're not communicating like we should. We're
We
not fighting
always
that
come
kind of
back to that, don't we? Like, this is a running theme for our show, is we literally always come back to what? The C word, communication, right? Always come back to that. So I think that is a massive foundation that we can't overlook when it comes to just getting what's important in our life. Communication. If I don't know where you're going and you don't know where I'm going, then the foundation is crumbling like sinking sand. So you need that strong foundation. But we are really going to dig into this. And before we go to break, I want you to understand this show today. It is not about bashing anyone. It is about us getting to the root of what we really need to be working on in order to obtain the love or continue the love and relationship that we have. This is no bashing men, bashing women. We're not doing that. We don't do that. We're not gonna. We're going to see where you need to get yourself focused on so that maybe it can help you find the love that you're looking for, right? So we'll be right back. We're going to take a short break.
Hey, if you're just tuning in, you are watching Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. I am Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood, and I am the proud producer of this show. So I hope that every day when you join us, you leave a little smarter than you came, because that's the point. Otherwise, why are you watching? So if you want to receive notices for when we go live, Fly Nubian Money goes live every single day. That's Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you don't know, now you know. All you have to do is text the word Queens. That's Queens. That's Queens to 87948. That's 87948. That's Queens to 87948. Yes? If you want.
Yes, it's so easy if you don't want to miss a show, and you'll get a simple text every day from us to let you know that we are live. I get them, I'm on the show. So they are definitely going to remind you that we are on, but all you have to do is a little bit of homework so that you can get that text, and you need to text the word Queens, Queens, to 87948. Yes, yes. Let's get back into this conversation. I didn't get a chance to ask you a question, Tiara, but I would like to know, I know you're in the dating pool. Have you found that you have changed some of your focuses on relationships? You may not have wanted something that you wanted maybe 5 or 10 years ago. Like, do you feel like you no longer are looking at the same thing that you did just a few years ago?
Absolutely. I mean, 10 years ago, I was a different woman and I wanted something else. Maybe I was looking at I was looking from a shallow perspective, thinking, well, maybe not, because I've always kind of wanted a man with depth. So I can't even say I looked at him because I live in Hollywood. Obviously, there's beautiful men walking around everywhere. They want to work on television, so they keep a certain appearance. I realized that men that are fine, at least here, can be dumb as a doorknob. So I don't necessarily need that, right? I prefer someone, emotional literacy. I prefer someone who can hold a conversation. I prefer someone that's fun and that it's relatable. I prefer those things over like somebody I can literally spend my life with joyously and not have to be like, oh God, I gotta live with this person, but they fine, no, or the sex is good, or whatever those things were before. That's not necessarily what I'm looking for today. It's still got to be good, but you know what I'm saying.
Get it?
Still
I
gotta, you
totally
still
get
gotta
it.
do a thing.
I get it. I totally get it.
Uh-huh.
Now, listen, we have a very interesting comment that says most modern women are not marriage material, too masculine with unreasonable demands. Now, obviously, that was written by, I believe, a man, Red. I'm going to ask you, Constance, what are your thoughts about that?
I think that he probably is very emasculated. He's probably a beta man, and he probably just doesn't know how to step into his masculinity with a small penis. And so, typically when you have those types of people, they have this inferiority complex. And they think that a woman who, is successful or she is confident in herself, that she's masculine, and it's not. It's just, if you were an alpha male and if you knew how to properly lead, then you wouldn't be intimidated by a woman who steps into her greatness. A woman stepping into her greatness doesn't diminish yours. She adds to you. So it's just probably his insecurities.
I'm going to ask now Joe, since I want a nice balance of this. Joe, you're probably going to be the balancer for today. So what do you think about that comment? You hear people come in and have therapy with you all the time. Is this something that you hear on your couch?
Tell me the comment one more time.
Well, the comment was, that's the second one I want to do. Most modern women are not marriage material, too masculine with unreasonable demands.
Yeah, I don't fall in line with that method of thinking. You know what I mean? What do I think about that? I mean, that's a personal, that's like lived experience. So maybe, I don't know. I don't want to. Most women are not on a monolith like that. And like I said, I don't run into women who are like this. I mean, I have tons of successful women that come see me in my practice, and like I tell you, they're not really looking for the things that you see on social media or that you see on TV. They're not looking for these things. They just want to feel loved. They just want to feel respected, feel like they're not taken advantage of. So I mean, you're gonna have women who are okay with being the breadwinner, as long as you're doing the things that you're supposed to do and you're living the life you say you want to live. Don't be in the background talking about, I need to make more money, or I feel bad about myself, or I'm not a man because I'm not making. If you feel that way, then go make the money you're supposed to make. You know what I mean? But if you're okay and comfortable with it, then y'all are gonna have a successful relationship.
I agree. And what does that come down to? The C word again?
Communication. 100%.
Communication. Listen, I want to remind everybody who is watching us today that we are playing a little game. And if you didn't come in on time, we want to remind you what this game is, and later on we'll reveal. But for married people, I want you to write down 3 traits of your current husband or wife that made you realize that they were marriage material. Okay, now that's for the married folk. Now, I didn't leave you single people out either. So for the single people, write down 3 traits that make a man or a woman marriage material. So go ahead, get those in there. We would love to see your comments. We want to make sure that you get those in there, because this is a pretty interesting topic. Everybody has differences, but when you get down to it, we pretty much have some basics. Let's check out some slides and some stats, okay? Because this can possibly resonate with you as well. So let's check out what's going on in the world. Marriage rates are declining. Marriage rates are declining. In 1970, 80% of adults were married. Today, that number is only 50%. That's quite a big jump. That is quite a big jump. So, okay, let's talk about one thing that people may look at for being equally yoked is the education gap. Education gap. For every 100 Black women in college, only 75 men are enrolled, making it harder for Black women to find educationally comparable partners. Now, that's one that we haven't talked about today, but we may get into that one too. So, financial. This one is definitely a big one, because what do? We talk about finances here, right? Nearly 1 in 3 Black men between the age of 25 and 54 are unemployed or out of the workforce. That's pretty big, y'all. And I've already said that I was going to screw this up. Somebody remind me, because I done already forgot.
Hypergamy.
Y'all, I want y'all to know I'm country and I pronounce that totally different. So hypergamy in dating. Studies shows that women prefer to marry men with equal or higher status, making it harder for high achieving women to find suitable partners. Now, this brings me to something that my mother always taught me, and it was to be equally yoked. we talked about several different things. We talked about economic, we talked about, educational, we talked about a couple other things that we haven't talked about. So, Dr. LaNee, do you think that should financial security be a major factor in deciding when someone is marriage material?
A major factor. I don't know if I would say a major factor, but it should be a factor. And not even that. I think the question depends on how old you are, right? So in my 20s, we're both building. So is it a factor? It is, but we got time to build together. We are you a hard worker, right? Like if you're a hard worker, then we can grow and build together. In your 30s, you should be doing, some decent work. You should be, all right. In your 40s, you should have it by now, right? So I think that question is dependent on how old you are. So it becomes more of a factor as you age. I think I'll say it that way. So I think it depends on how old you are when you're going into this situation. But as you get older, it does become a factor because now we're talking about retirement. We're talking about quality of life. We're talking about, are we going to be protected? How are we going to take care of ourselves? So it does become a bigger factor as you get older.
And I think you're totally right. As you get older, things change. Your focuses still change. I like to tell people, because this is the truth, like when I was 20, I started with vision boards, right? And I do vision boards every now and then, but I found an old vision board. And when I looked at that vision board from when I was 20, I just cracked up laughing. I don't want none of that shit was on that board. I mean, it was just ridiculous. It was just so silly. I want $1 million. I want this kind of car. And there's nothing wrong with that. But now I am 54. I'm getting ready to be 2 nickels in a couple of weeks. Okay. And that just doesn't matter to me anymore. So as we get older, we definitely change in our thoughts and also in our relationship wants. So with this also being done, Tiara, I want to ask you, do you think that men should feel pressured to earn more money in order to be seen as desirable partners?
I understand what kind of society I live in, one that values money and equates that to who men are, right? We're having conversations about like, would you date a bus driver? Would you date the janitor? Would you date the trash man? And the answer to that is like, I want to say in a real world that doesn't matter, right? I don't want struggle love, but I don't want, but I don't really care about the money. Like I really don't need a man to make a gajillion dollars for me to see that he is an asset in my life, especially if he's a good man who's a janitor or a good man who earns a bus driver or whatever, is listen, I mean, we're gonna figure out how to make a bus station or what, we're gonna figure it out. But like for the most part, if you can take this not potential, but this good man and who may not have all the business savvy because you educated, sis. You ain't got all the degrees, bring it home. Bring it home and say, nah, this is what we do. We do it like this. Like I do that all day, right? So it's like, what's the big deal about doing it with somebody who is good to you, that is a good partner, that's communicative, that can do all the things that you want them to do, and it not his value, because he's a man. Like he is a man, hopefully a God fearing man or whatever it is that you're looking for. But God made him. He didn't say you gotta make $1 million to be loved. Like that's weird. So I would just say we just have to really like think about that when we're considering these are people we're talking about, human beings.
Exactly. And I've always been told it don't matter what you do as long as you do the best at it. Okay. And that's just how I feel. If that's where you are right now, then that's a place that we can grow if you choose to. Maybe you run the janitorial department, okay? And that just may be fine for you. All right. You love it. We're doing it together. As long
But you
as
gotta have a certain spirit.
gotta
You
have
can't
a
be
certain
like,
spirit.
I'm gonna let you do it, babe. It
Right.
can't be like you got that. Like you so dope. I'm gonna just sit here and play video games. It ain't
Or
that.
or take me to the job interview with you and get me a job too.
Cause I did that. Cause I did it. I was 30 years old, bringing my man to the interview. I was like, well, I know you want to give me a 6-figure job, but here's him. Take him with you. Can he come with us?
See.
I'm not
All
doing
right,
that.
that's another topic that we could definitely dig into. Now, before we go to break, TC thinks that we are spitting much bullshit. Well, here's the rule when you come to Fly Nubian Money. is you can spit whatever you want to in your comments, but if you don't back that shit up, we don't pay attention to you. Back it up. Why do you think this is bullshit? Back it up. We'll be right back.
What I said was bullshit. Dang.
You want to grow your money and not blow your money, as Constance says? Check us out at flynubianmoney.com. There's all kinds of resources, programs, videos, resources. In 2024, there's no reason to be broke when there's information all around us. So get your money right. flynubianmoney.com.
Listen, we talk about stuff all the time, but we always center it around financials as well and things that are important in our community. So listen, we can help you get on the right financial path. A lot of us are lost. Some people are lost about where to start. New Year started, you overspent at Christmas. Yes, we in February, and now you're thinking, oh my God, I got to spend $1,000 on Valentine's Day. No. What you need to do is to get your financial house in order, and we have the tools to help you do that. Visit flynubianmoney.com to get some free resources to help you get on the right path and get your financial house in order. All right, now listen, we've already talked about the first set of women things to think about when you're looking for a woman, but let's see the other perspective. We're going to watch this little video and we'll be right back.
4 of the biggest signs that lets a woman know that a man is marriage material, and the last one's the biggest one. New here, I'm Coach Los, certified life and relationship coach that helps you fix your relationship or find the one you want. I think a lot of women get confused on looking for good men versus good men that are marriage material. There's a difference. See, a good man is healthy. You guys can get along, have chemistry, have similar interests and things like that. But most of you ladies are looking for someone that you can marry. You need more than just those basic things to make sure he's someone you can marry. You need to look out for deeper things that has deeper significance. The first sign that a man is marriage material is how well he handles stress. You need a man that can handle the pressure of life. Whenever life hits you guys hard, and you need him to stand 10 toes down to make sure you guys are solid. And how well he handles stress can indicate how well he has patience for you and your emotions when you need it most. Second, he shows consistent support and partnership, which means he's very team oriented, and he understands the importance of you guys growing individually and as a couple, because he knows both are required for a long-term relationship. But even with that partnership, he'll never let you take on a role that's for his responsibility as a man in a relationship. Third, he has daily practices and rituals that are the principles and moral foundation for himself and for a home. Something rooted in a daily mission statement or even something spiritual. Something bigger than him that pulls his family together that he leads from. And fourth, he understands the significance of courting you and making sure you're taken care of, because he knows you're the foundation of his environment, his nurture, his support, and bringing life into this world for you guys to have a family. Because if you're not good, his environment's not good. Let's get it.
I like it.
I like it. I
Like
absolutely like what he's bringing. And I think he does bring some very valid points, but we also had a really interesting comment while that video was going. So Constance, I'm going to ask your reaction to this because it is something I don't think we think about a lot. Life Ask says, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. Someone could know how to lead, but if you don't know how to follow, then it's okay to call that out. We can't grow if we get defensive. Hey, that's a really good way to look at some of this as well. Constance, what are your thoughts on this comment?
When my daughter was when I first got married, I had the whole concept of marriage wrong. I'll just say that. I had the whole concept of marriage wrong because the way I grew up, my dad was kind of soft and my mom was like the more louder outspoken one. And so when my dad got saved, it was like church, God, my kids, and then my work, and then my wife somewhere down at the bottom. That's kind of how he, and so then when I got married, had my daughter, we went to church, and the pastor said, how the breakdown of what your priority should be. It should be God, right? And then your wife, and then your children or your family, and then like if you're in a ministry or whatever, but you should not synonymize God and church at the top as a priority. God should be the priority, should be the center, but your spouse should be number one. Then he also said, if men stepped into their power, if men took their right place as the men in the relationship, the woman wouldn't have any problem but to follow. If you are a good leader, you can't say, you won't let me be a man, you won't let me lead. If you led with the authority that God has given you to lead, if you have the right woman, she's going to step into her place and she's going to follow you. But you got to lead as a man before you can get somebody to follow you.
I think
Preach,
you're right.
Constance. So I literally, I wrote this down because I was going to tell this story. I was going to wait to tell it when I did my 3, but that's the whole truth. I had lunch with my ex not too long ago, and we were talking about the dude I see right now. And he was like, how did he get you to submit? And I was like, what are you talking about? He was like, I never thought you would submit. He said, you would never allow me to lead. And I was like, that was the problem. He was like, what are you talking about? I was like, oh boy, I don't get an option. He's like, this the passenger seat. You want to get in? You giving me options. You won't allow me to lead. Either you're the leader or you're not the leader. You can't ask me if you can lead. He don't give me no options. He's like, I'm the leader. You want to roll or what? I want to roll.
See, when a man steps into his power, a woman wants to be, she falls into that femininity. I want to be feminine. I want to be a woman. I don't want to be a man. But if you step into your power as a man, oh my God. Hello.
Baby, that you come in and say something like, okay.
We're going to do that all day. Right? Shit.
Yep.
Because that's true. You do want to feel that. And there is nothing. I love to see my husband in his power. I mean, he is a great businessman. He is an absolutely fantastic musician, to see his creativeness. But when I tell you, he sees things that bother me before I try to let him know what's bothering me. Like if I'm having a hard day with grief, he will put absolutely everything down and come and say, it's a hug day, babe. Guess what? We need to just recenter. We need to go have a coffee. We need to, and it's when I know that I am in my comfort zone with my person. My person makes me feel comfortable, and I'm able to say and do what I need to do that is in my heart at the time. And to know that he can pick up on that, baby, you can't have him. He's mine. And I'm nowhere near letting him go anytime soon. So, Joe, I do want to ask you this, because we talk about this, but maybe someone is in a relationship that's a little wobbly right now. Okay. Maybe it's something that they do want, but they don't know how to kind of put it back on track. So what solutions can Black men and women explore to strengthen relationships and their partnerships?
And can you also mention, because I know a few people want to know about leading and they were asking for your opinion. So also include that, Joe, if you can.
Okay, so I'll go with the leading stuff first. First of all, that is like, it's really hard for me to accept what y'all are saying right now, because I understand that a man has to step into his power and be a leader, but asking him to do that all the time is not feasible. You know what I mean? Like, there are moments when a man has to be vulnerable. There's moments where a man has to be broken, and he is uncomfortable doing that. So he suppresses a lot of those things because of the way you guys are talking right now. So a man feels like the pressure of always having to be a man all the time, and he doesn't come forth with the things that are bothering him, the things that are breaking him down. And he ends up, with health issues. He ends up, with bad behavior, all types of things that, help him combat that pressure. So, like, understanding like the balance of what power is and stepping it, it's more to it than that. And it all comes down to what Lalo talked about, is communication. Yes, sometimes it calls for a man to lead and step into his power, but sometimes he needs a break.
I don't think he has to be a man all the time, because when you're in partnership, you're supposed to have give and take, but you do have to be a leader. You do have to be a man, because in order for a woman to submit to you, she has to know that she is with somebody that makes her feel safe. And in order for you to be able to be vulnerable, you have to be with somebody that makes you feel safe.
Yeah,
so I think it's a give and take.
The type of woman, are you the type of woman, I'm speaking not to you, Levette, but in general, are you the type of woman that can give the man the allowance to break down and be vulnerable at times?
Oh, absolutely. Like it's it's
Oh, you're talking for yourself, right?
oh, okay, okay.
Let
I
your
don't.
finish.
And
I
let
don't,
your
I was gonna say, I don't think anybody is saying that you got to just be this guy all the time,
Yeah.
but just step into your role
That's
and I'll
what
step into
y'all
my
are
role.
saying. I'm talking
Right.
about women in general. Like I'm talking to women all the time. I'm talking to couples all the time, and I'm telling you that that's just not the case. The communication about what it is to be masculine at certain times and given the opportunity to like break down and have weak moments. A lot of men aren't allowed to do that because when they do that, they are often criticized. Okay,
yeah,
and when you're
I've
criticized
seen that.
I've
consistently
heard that.
for having those type of moments,
Yeah.
you're gonna get the kind of the results that you all are seeing. You know what I mean? So you have to be careful about what you're saying when you're saying, you want a man to step into his power. You have to have a real nuanced conversation about those type of things. So like, just don't be a masculine male all the time. And I understand that y'all know the difference and understand the balance, but y'all not saying it. You know what I mean? You're not saying it. You're not saying that you understand that balance. So a man has to be more than his output. He has to be more than what he produces. There's more to him than that.
So I think you're saying he has to be both. And while I think all I'm saying is he can't only be this one. Like you can't only be this. It
Yes.
should be both. You should be able to be a man and be vulnerable. Both of those things have to coexist because if you're only man, then you're not being vulnerable. You're not letting me in.
You
If
have
you're
to know.
only emotional, then you're not being the leader. I think
You
it
have
needs
to
to be
know as a
both.
woman how to create a safe space for your man. Okay, so that he can step into his power. Are you creating the spaces that a man needs so that he can step into his power? Because he's out there fighting the world, and y'all know this. He's out there fighting the world all day. He don't want to come home and have to, fight his woman as well. And sometimes he's gonna be like, "Damn, it's tough out there, and I feel like crying." Okay, I don't want to hear it. Well, suck it up, Negro. You know what I
Whining.
mean?
Don't be a bitch.
Yeah,
All
don't
of
be a
that.
bitch.
Do
You got
That's a
women do
real
that
thing.
though?
Yes, they
people
do.
do
Yes,
that.
they do.
Yes,
That
women
happens.
do
For
that.
real?
Yes.
Yes, that absolutely happens. Like you
I'm
have.
with you, Dr. LaNee. I don't know them women.
I'm like, I don't know. So I told you guys have heard me. I'm spinning the block. And we just had this conversation. And I was like, you're so much better this time around. You're so open. Like you communicate, everything is good. He was like, that's because of you. He was like, you make it easy. He was like, before we used to be like this. I felt like he was condescending because he's so smart. I always felt like he was trying to tell me what to do. So I used to be bucking all the time. And he was like, you didn't listen. He was like, you have come back. And the woman that you are today makes it so easy for me to be open. It makes it so easy for me to do all the things. He was like, you don't fuss, you're not fighting. Like it makes it easy. And I didn't even, and when I go back and I think of who I was in my 30s, I get it because I was aggressive in my 30s. You can't tell me nothing. And at this age, I'm more mature, I'm secure in myself. And that listening piece, that communication piece, that vulnerability piece, he gives credit to me, but I'd be like, no, but you're better too. Like you make it easier to be those things. I think it has to be both parties. Like I don't know.
Or it's,
I don't know those women.
if you are in spaces where you're listening to black men talk and you are aware of where black men's mental health is right now today, okay? And then are you also in spaces as a black man where you're listening to black women and listening to where their mental health is today? So that you can have a nuanced conversation about how did women get to this point where they feel the way that they feel? How did men get to this point where they feel the way they feel? And when you're talking about heterosexual relationships, especially in the black community, we cannot do it without each other. So the fact that we are butting heads and fighting each other and not listening, like I was frustrated the other day on my pod because we didn't have an opportunity to have the nuanced conversation to understand why do women, especially women who are successful, feel the way they feel. I want to know, why do black men always feel like they don't have safe spaces or places where they can go, where they can be vulnerable and still feel like men? Why do we feel that way? It's not about you should just feel different. Why do you feel that way? Let's talk about it.
That is,
Yeah, I was gonna say a black man just told me that yesterday, who has been married for like 15 years. He was like, I feel like I can't talk to my wife about that because she makes me feel bad when I open up to her. So I mean, men are feeling that way. That's a real thing.
Yeah.
and that is
The problem is
not
we getting together in our 20s, right? I mean, Lala, how old were you when you got married? We getting together in our
23.
20s. Yeah, right. 23. I'm 27 when I got married. So we don't understanding these things. But now maybe these new relationships that are forming in the era of where mental health is more prominent and more popular and less destigmatized, maybe they can form healthier bonds and relationships. I don't know because they also in the social media era, but we didn't understand these things, so we had to learn on the job. And that's why you see long lasting relationships, because you got two people who are uh I don't know what the word is, what you're able to change or willing to change. um those things, when you have those type of people who are willing to go back and say, I did this wrong, tell me how to do it right, but also I need to tell you where you're doing things wrong, so we can continue our relationship.
And I think that's an absolutely wonderful point, because in my 20s, we both were still learning. And as we got in our 30s, after we bumped heads a couple of times, we were pretty good in the 20s. We were better than most in our 20s. But in the 30s, we basically did have a conversation about, hey, if we want to proceed like we say we're going to proceed, we need to have this tough conversation. And that's exactly what we did, which was exactly what Joe said. We sat down and we talked heart to heart, and we didn't leave anything out. And we said, okay, I could be better at this. I could be better at this. We could be better at this together. And you have to do that. You have to have those conversations. We'll be right back. This is really a great topic. So give us a second. We'll be right back.
Fly Nubian Money is now on Spotify. Yes, yes, yes. We are on Spotify. So if you can't watch us, you can listen to us. All you have to do is search Fly Nubian Money and we will appear. All of our episodes. Make sure that you leave a 5-star rating and review, so other people that come along and are looking for a good show to watch, they'll follow us too. If you are interested in being on Fly Nubian Money, sorry, I don't have any spaces. I'm just playing. If you are interested in being a queen or a king on Fly Nubian Money for the day, please reach out to me. I'm at info@realvirtual.net. That's info@realvirtual.net. Also, if you need help with your business, go ahead and send me an email for that too. Okay. I've said enough. Now back to the show.
Listen, we always tell you that if you can catch us live, then that's a great thing to do. You can have live conversations with us because we talk to you and we talk back to you. So it's not like, we're just talking at you. So if you do find yourself being a little too busy and maybe you missed the show, we are on Spotify, right? So all you have to do is go to Spotify and look for Fly Nubian Money, and you'll be able to look at all of our episodes. All of our episodes. Take us on the road, take us in your car, take us to that coffee date. We're there for you. So make sure when you get over there, you give us a 5-star rating so that everybody else can find us too. All right. Now I want to dig back into this because this is a really great conversation. Now we are also in the process of doing a little quiz. All right. We're doing a little game. So here was what we were supposed to do in the game. All right. If you are married, this is your assignment. Write down 3 traits of your current husband or wife that made you realize they were marriage material. Now, for single folk, you need to write down 3 traits that make a man or a woman marriage material. So now we're going to start sharing some of the things that we wrote down. I think this is going to be very, very good. So make sure you put your comments in the chat. We're going to definitely check in with the chat too. So this ain't just a game for the panel. This is the game for our watcher family as well. Constance, I would like to start with you. What is your list, love?
See, besides having a large penis, no, I'm just kidding. I want somebody who is a visionary, for the family. Someone who's secure, like a protector, provider, and somebody who just is a loving, not just love, right? Because everybody wants love, but somebody who is loving and caring and giving, like that type of love, like someone who's not selfish. I don't want to speak in negative terms. Like, I don't want to say somebody who's not selfish, but somebody who's very loving, caring, and giving, generous. That.
I like that. So we have someone in our comments who said, D Staff said dedication, consistency, and loyalty. I love that. But D Staff, let us know, Are you single or married? When you put your comments in, will you please let us know if you're already married or if you're single as well? So Tiara, I'm going to go to you next. What is your list?
Okay. I want a communicator. I want somebody who I like to talk. So I need somebody who is open to communication and is open, is not rigid about thoughts. They just can communicate freely with me. I want them to be emotionally available and literate. Um, and I want them to be, you were talking about it earlier, Joe, like they're open to change. I guess I already said that. Like they just can't be rigid. They have to be, they have to be open to whatever it is, flexible, adaptable. We have to kind of move together, because we have to do this thing together. So those are things, just being open. And of course I want them to be loyal, but those things, the and just have a good heart. I know that was more than three, but they just got to be a good person, a solid person. You got to be solid.
Solid person. I always like to say, be a good human.
Yeah.
Double A, who is single, says, can communicate, financially stable, and honest. Dr. LaNee, would love to hear your list, please.
So my list, the first one is they have to be able to hear from God, which would just basically mean they have a relationship. They're communicating, they're talking, they're praying. In order to hear from God, you have to be talking to him, right? So that spiritual piece is super important to me. The second one is being a protector. Let me start with being a leader, right? So a leader, there's a protector, there's a provider, somebody that I know can guide me, right? And then the third one is emotionally available. And I feel like if you're emotionally available, you're going to communicate well, you're going to be vulnerable, you're going to let your guard down, you're going to tell me about those bad days. So those are the three things that are important to me.
Okay, D Staff says single man, no kids, and mom's basement. I'm pretty assuming that she means no mom's basement. Okay, Joe, now you are my marriage partner here. You're my marriage person on the panel, so I'd love to hear your list.
Sorry about that. So, yeah, let me preface this by saying my list came from the mind of a 26, 27-year-old, right? This is when I decided to marry my wife when I was 26 years old. So she was dependable, right? I could depend on her. She was going to do what she said she's going to do. She was extremely caring, and she was beautiful. So these are all the things that, that made me marry her. Now, these are not the same qualities that kept me married to her, and not the same things that have me here today. But if you're asking me why I married her, why I knew she was marriage material, I could count on her, and she was gorgeous.
And then C. White says supportive, healthy, mentally, emotionally, and physically, and honest. And here is my list from my little old 23-year-old self, but I realized this when I was 19 because we started dating when we were 19. I wanted commitment, a strong dedication to our relationship. I wanted faithfulness and trustworthiness. I wanted to know that I could rely on him and he would be honest. And then faith in spirit. I wanted us to be able to worship together and to believe in the same thing. But here was the bonus with my 19-year-old self, y'all. He had to love Prince and he had to love music. And I got all that. All right. So I think we all have some really great lists. What did you think of our lists? Keep putting your lists in the comments. We're going to take a short break and we'll be right back.
Do you want to make $1 million this year? What? Was that a yes? Oh, then guess what? You're in for luck. My name is Vanessa Gopal. I am a successful entrepreneur and owner of Winter Remodeling, Inc., a general contracting firm. Over my career, we've procured millions of dollars for myself and for clients. And I partner now with the Fly Nubian Money Club, where I'm going to teach you some of the successful business strategies that I use that involve B2B, in-face networking, and also B2C. Because one thing I do know is if you don't sell, then your business will surely fail.
And that's not what we want for y'all. We don't want you to fail. This is why we established the Fly Nubian Money Club. You have Vanessa going up. She's going to help you. She's going to help you with your business. She said it all in one word, right? If you don't sell, you're going to fail. So you don't want to miss that opportunity. And then guess what? When you join us, you get a 30-day trial. And in that 30-day trial, you get confidence with seven figures. You got Athena Gardner, who taught you how to jump on in on this AI business. And then you have me that helped you buy domestically or internationally. So listen, it's worth your time. Go ahead and sign up right now, flynubianmoneyclub.com.
And we're having the Brilliance Coach next.
Man, okay. Don't say that you can't or you didn't or nobody will help me, because that's what this is about. FlyNubianMoneyClub.com. All right. All right. That's simple as that. So listen, I want to say a couple of more comments that people put in, because we did asking for the assignment, and I want to honor you with putting in your comments. Chairman of the People says dependable, caring, beautiful. Red says good character, good communicator without being disrespectful, and feminine. And then Janelle says loyal, comma, family, financial stability, communicator, intelligent, and honest. I think we all have running themes here, right? We all do. We just want a good human, just a good human. I always say that that is one of my things. Be a good human and be the light. So if you want that, you also have to be that. So don't just put it out there and say what you want, but you're not willing to do the same. All right. Listen, this has been an absolutely fabulous conversation. And I don't think that this will be the last one that we tackle with this, but we really do appreciate everyone here and playing the game. But it's time for final thoughts, right? So I am going to start with you, Joe. I'm going to start with our king today. What is your final thoughts, and where can we find you?
Well, I'll keep it brief. I'm gonna start how Lala. I'm gonna end how Lala started it. Talking about communication. I think that's a big key. A lot of women who are dealing with relationships, or trying to struggle to get in relationships because of their past lived experiences. You have to take some accountability for the fact that you chose wrong and you didn't communicate in the beginning. And also, brothers, we got to take accountability for the fact that we're not showing up in these relationships the way that we should or that we need to, because we haven't dealt with a lot of our issues from our past. But and that goes for both genders. We're not dealing with, we coming into relationships trying to meet needs from our childhood instead of the needs that we have today as adults. And we're not talking and communicating about those things. And if you're starting a relationship or getting into a relationship, please go see someone that can help you navigate those communication things, so you can have a chance at either succeeding or getting out early before it all blows up in your face. And you can call me at realuconsulting.com. That's my website. You can book a consultation. I'll be willing to talk to you and your partner, so we can decipher whether or not y'all are heading in the right direction or y'all need to be heading away from each other. Okay, and you can follow me on all socials. And this whole month, at Joe Corley, and this whole month, starting with last night, what's today, Thursday, or 2 nights ago, we doing relationships on my podcast, Vulnerability is the New Sexy, every Tuesday. We had a great part one, talking about laying the foundation for a successful relationship and building emotional connection. And the next Tuesday, we're going to be talking about conflict and how to use it as opposed to running away from it and turning towards each other in the midst of conflict.
I love it. Vulnerability is the new sexy. Do not miss it. We always give you good content everywhere. Anybody underneath this umbrella, baby, is out here for you, and they want to see you win. So you don't want to miss that. And you also want to make sure that you check out Joe at realuconsulting.com. Terry also says that she wants honesty, sensual, and humorous. Okay, Tiara, it's your turn. What's your final thoughts, and where can we find you? Can't hear you.
Just joking. So when I found this topic, it said that there was a shortage, right? A shortage in marriage material. And I don't know if I necessarily believe that. You know how I am about, like, I don't believe nobody. I got to look around and I feel like sometimes we get stories and generalizations. And so when I look around, I see Black men who are available. I see Black women who are available. And I think sometimes we look past one another. And I don't know if that's because of the internet, but I know so many good Black men. And sometimes I look around and be like, why didn't I just pick one of my friends that I know, or want somebody I've known forever or whatever. It's always like we're just, so maybe we start to look around at the people that are good human beings that maybe I just don't know if I believe that there's a shortage more so than we're just like looking over one another. I don't know if it's the bad bitch error or the social media, like you got to have 6 figures first. And I think that's all I was saying earlier, is that I want to be open and available to whatever God is going to send to me. And I know God won't send me trash. He'll send me exactly what's for me. And so I just want to stay open to that. And so I encourage you to do that as well. Stay open and please don't let society tell you what you need in your home, because you'll be laying in that thing alone using a rose for the rest of your life, baby. So just be open. And you can find me at Miss Black Hollywood, MSBLACK Hollywood, across all platforms. Please join Fly Nubian Money Club. And if you have a business, email me your business. I am compiling a Fly Nubian Money business directory. So please email me. Gwen, can you please put it at the bottom of the screen? Y'all already know the email address, info@realvirtual.net.
We talking all the time about how we can support one another and also not these big companies that no longer support us. Well, there you have it right there. You want to make sure that you reach out to us at info@realvirtual.net. Let me spell it. info@RealVirtual.net. All right. Now listen, VB says, single, mature woman. She's looking for God-fearing, knowing, committed, established, driven, and fun and spontaneous. Well, that's a good list. I don't think that's a bad list at all. Dr. LaNee, what is your final thoughts, and where can we find you?
My final thought is going to be that I don't think that there's a shortage of marriage material. I think that there's a shortage of marriage-minded people. So I think we're out here, we're dating, but we're not saying what we want. I think we're not going, we're settling. We're not communicating the things that we want. And so we're not going after the people that we want. And so I think that that is a huge reason why people may feel like there's a shortage. And so I might just say, I'm just going to piggyback, I guess, to what Tiara said, which is be open, right? Be open. Maybe spin the block, maybe go back to somebody, do some self-reflection, look at yourself, see what areas you may or may not need to grow in. Because like Tiara said, there's some really good men out here. There's some really good women out here, and we're not communicating. So we're not getting close to each other. We're looking over each other. We don't understand what marriage really means. So we're not going into it to build, to partner. And I think if we do more of that, then we'll get further. And so I'm Dr. LaNee Javette. I am Dr. LaNee Javette. Brilliant strategist, and that's it. We can't hear you. Am I the only person that's on mute or not muted? Because everybody else looks like they're on mute.
Everybody was on mute.
Okay.
I was like, Lala, you're not talking. Lala,
I
you're not talking.
I saw y'all talking. I was like, I can't hear nothing.
I was on the bus. Listen, she has also been added to the list of FlyNubianMoneyClub.com. You hear her every day. You hear how smart she is. She knows what she's doing, right? So you want to make sure that you jump on. Listen, you're getting all sorts of stuff, and we love having her. She comes with such wisdom, and you want to make sure that you jump in on that. Now, Constance, my love, it is your turn for final thoughts, and where can we find you, please?
Well, first of all, Tiara, I don't know that the rose idea is such a bad idea. I mean, it's better than having a trash dude next to you. No, I'm just kidding. Y'all know I just be talking shit, right? Y'all know I just say that the stuff I say about people and their small genitals, I'm not really serious, guys. I really want us to, I don't believe I'm with Dr. LaNee. I don't believe that there is a shortage of marriage material. I believe if you are the best version of yourself, you are going to attract simply what God has for you. So when they say, oh, it's a 9-to-1, a 3-to-1, that was hard out here for Black women, I don't really believe that. I believe what God has for you is for you, just like you're able to attract anything else in this world, whether it's money, whether it's job, whatever it is, you can attract the person that is meant for you. So when I, look at it and I don't have a specific criteria, because really I don't know. I'm not a great picker. So I'm just letting go and letting God, and whatever God has for me, just being open and ready and being the right person in the right place at the right time, ready to receive that person when he does come. That's it. And that's all. And I think that's what everybody should do. Just try to be just the best version of yourself and be the right person in the right place at the right time. Where can you find me? Everywhere. I am Constance Carter.
We absolutely love our Constance. She keeps us balanced. She keeps us giggling. She keeps us laughing, but she also delivers fantastic messages, right? And she is so much in love with our Black community that she wants to see you uplifted. So you want to make sure and go and see everything that Constance has at I Am Constance Carter. All right. Now listen, here's my final thoughts. You grow and you change. If you are already with your partner, because I can only speak right now for being a married woman, it's okay to sit down and really talk to your partner when you're feeling like you're out of sync. If you really want to be that couple in the rocking chair and be so blessed to be the couple that people look up to, then you both got to put the work into. So when you're not feeling supported or you're feeling a little down, and this goes for the men or the women, it's time to sit down and reconnect. Because sometimes you just need a little buzz, a little bit of surge. Sometimes you get too comfortable and you just need to plug in with one another once in a while. So don't be afraid to do that, because if it's worth it, you're gonna fight for it. And I take this time all the time whenever we talk about relationships to say that I am grateful for my husband. He is the man for me. He is an upright man, and I'm proud of him every single day for everything that he does. But I thank him so much for loving me. I am a daggone handful. Now, where you can find me is www.laurykey.net. I have a lot of free things there for you. If you're thinking about moving abroad, because maybe you're ready to spread your wings and become a world citizen, I have a quiz there for you to take so that you can kind of get an idea if you're ready, or if this is something for you, or if you're ready to make this move. All right, so go there, download that quiz. But I also want to remind you of this. I also have given a freebie to the Fly Nubian Money Club as well. And you want to make sure that you go over there and download it. It's a 14-page booklet for you. It is a budget workbook that really takes a deep dive into your financial household and makes you start thinking of things. So go on over there. It's another reason to join the Fly Nubian Money Club and get that as well. So listen, guys, we really have had a wonderful, wonderful conversation. And this conversation makes one thing clear. Relationships today look a lot different than they did in the past. But do they though? The question is, are we adjusting to these changes in a way that benefits us, or are we letting outdated expectations hold us back? There's no denying that financial struggles, shifting gender roles, and dating culture have played a role in what people consider marriage material. But does that mean marriage is dying out? Or do we just need to redefine what makes a good partner? Let's keep this conversation going. Keep dropping your thoughts in the comment, because we do go back and look at those. And I want to say a huge thank you and much love to our panel, Constance, Tiara, Dr. LaNee, and Joe, for helping us break all this down. And be sure to make sure that you like and comment and share this episode. And as always, master your mindset, maximize your money, and we'll see you next time on Fly Nubian Money. Now listen, don't you go anywhere, all right? We have a beautiful Black History fact for you, because this is our month. We're here 365. We're here all the rest of your life, every single day. But we want to make sure that this month is even stronger for you to know that our roots are strong and not bendable. Stay tuned. We'll see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye.
And tonight on Soul, part 2 of a conversation between James Baldwin and Nikki Giovanni.
And all I know that works in the world is a relationship.
Yes, all right.
Okay, that's all that's going to work. It takes two people to have a relationship.
Yeah, but the relationship.
If you don't have a dream, fake it.
But the relationship, you can't fake a dream.
You got to fake it, because we don't have dreams these days. How the hell can you have a dream? For what?
Well, it isn't.
So everybody's jiving, but let's jive on that level.
If I love you, I can't lie to you.
course you can lie to me. And you will. If you love me and you're going off with Maddie someplace, you're lying to me. Because what the hell do I care about the truth? I care if you're there. What Billie Holiday say, hush now, don't explain.
All right, I accept that.
Of course. Of
All right,
course
I
you'll lie to
accept
me.
that.
Because I don't even want to care. What does the truth matter? And why are you going to be truthful with me when you lie to everybody else? You lied when you smiled at that cracker down the job, right? Lie to me, smile. Treat me the same way you would treat him.
I can't treat you the way I
must.
treat him.
You must. Because I've caught the frowns and the anger. He's happy with you. Of course he doesn't know you're unhappy. You grin at him all day long. You come home and I catch hell. Because I love you, I get least of you. I get the very minimum. And I'm saying, fake it with me. Is that too much of the black woman to ask of the black man?